welcome to Keeping It Real with Dr. Rosemary Solomon. I am her co-host, none other than Mark Ryder Ahern, and we have with us Dr. Solomon.
In the house. And I want to say welcome to all my live audience. Thank you all so much for coming in. Mark, how you doing? What's going on in the news?
Well, what isn't going on in the news? You know, just recently, Dr. Solomon, I haven't been swimming all summer. You know why?
Why?
They said that there's flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh, Lord.
And you know a lot about that because you work in the medical field. Mm-hmm. So this summer, I have not gone to the ocean, and I haven't gone to the pool.
Wow. I haven't either. Well, I take that back. I was in Miami for my mother's 80th birthday party, and I spent a lot of time in the pool at the Dublin Hotel. And it was wonderful. I get the opportunity to go. I can't swim, you know that. But I go and I pop in the pool. But I have a great summer because we're still in this. My grandkids was with me.
Oh.
And all 6 of them, y'all. And it was awesome. They drive me crazy, but I love them. And they gone back home, but I miss them. And they'll be back next year. But you know what I told the children? Y'all going to send me on a trip next year with them.
Yes, we will.
I'm staying home. But one thing that I wanted to talk about the news, the young man over in England that I think there was 2 young men that was following him. What's his name?
The rapper, the singer over in Switzerland.
And one of the things I heard, they was talking about the way, I think they say these 2 young men just keep on following them, and he lost it. And I think he beat them up so bad. Now he's in jail.
Actually, they let him out yesterday.
Oh, they
did?
And
he's on his way back to the United States.
Oh,
unfortunately, many times this is one of the things I tell people all the time. When you're traveling internationally, you have to be really careful. The laws in international territory is not the same as the laws in the United States. And so you can't put the same, type of things when it comes to that. And, as a celebrity, you also have to be careful.
Careful, right. And I remember when I was in Africa, I was downtown Africa taking a picture with my driver, and we have an interpreter, and they stopped. I just see a lot of crowd as you talk about it. And the only thing I heard, boom, boom, boom on the door, get out. I'm like, oh, Lord, what we do now? And so happy that I was filming, and I was saying, you know, how nice camera was, but they thought I was taking picture of the police station. So they detained me. I got detained in Africa, y'all.
You got detained?
Yes,
wow.
Lord. But so happy that I didn't even worry because I know my rights, and I know I didn't see the police. I didn't know, but my driver was telling them that we're an American, we don't know. And and we went up in the little room, and they went, sit down and take out paper. And I said, okay, my husband said, don't say nothing to these people, because he know I got big mouth, right? And I said, honey, they intimidate me. But I make it a long story short, we were able to, someone was there that know us from when I did the speech at the school, who was the supervisor.
Okay.
And she was so mad, she said, let them people go. So up in those 2 police officers get fired. Because Mr. Solomon is a king in Africa, y'all. But see, they didn't know that. But yeah, you're so right. We have to be careful when we travel. But knowing me, I was very cool, calm, and connected.
Well, now, there's one other thing. We could go on and on about this person, but our president, if you want to call him that, it's based on what your decision is, but our current president, all the festive talk that he is providing to our country right now, what do you think, Dr. Solomon?
Oh, Jesus, let's pray for him. my husband called me the Trump girl. You remember when he first got in? I said the people would give him a chance, but now I see where he's going. But you know what? If we pray, we could stop President Trump. Can I keep it real?
Yeah.
We just got to pray for him and just realize that God put him there for a time and a season. So all we got to do is to pray and ask God to lead him. Did you hear him quote the scripture? Couple weeks ago, I said, Lord, help him, Holy Ghost. Teach him, Lord. So I believe that this man do have a heart, but something is missing. And we could talk about it in another show.
Yeah.
But I believe that he just needs
a lot of things are missing.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a whole nother topic.
Because, sending all these people and deporting all these people. A good friend of mine, her daughter was being deported. I have a green card and was deported. But you know what? We're living in a time. In the last days, the Bible told us, these are the things we should see. So I just think we just need to pray for him and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. And speaking of keeping it moving, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Dr. Solomon, your host, my co-host, Mark Wright. And then today, we have a special guest with us today, Adrian.
Thank you for having me.
And this is Mark's wife.
Husband. We're both male. So a lot of people ask, oh, who plays the girl? Who plays the wife? Nobody.
And today, I know for those of you, I'm going to look in the camera, y'all. For those of you that are listening, it may be a sensitive topic to many. You may have a lot of comments. You may have not agreeing. But who is us to judge? God is love. And especially, can I say this, because I keep it real, to my leaders, a lot of time, I mean, I may get a lot of flop for this show, but it don't matter because I'm in a place in my life now where I'm over people. But today I have two special people that have been a part of my life for a very long time. But first I'm going to let Adrian introduce himself. You already heard Mark, but I have some questions some things we're going to talk about today. And again, like I said, many of you viewers may not like it, but it's okay. God is still love. Adrian, what would you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and who you are?
I am Adrian Ahern. I am Mark's husband. We have been married for going on 5 years now. And obviously have known each other longer than that. And we're in a committed relationship like anybody else. A very loving relationship. Mm-hmm. Love is love.
Right. And one of the reasons why I want to bring this to the forefront, because let me say something about Mark, and he's going to come in. Many years ago, I know Mark for over a long time, years and years. And Mark and I, we go way back, and Mark used to work for me in my school. Mark was my director. Mark was he'd been in the play. He was a friend. And I never forget, I think, been in friendship over 6 years. One day there was a knock at my door, and it was Mark, and I was drinking my cup of coffee and I was drinking no tea. And he said, Dr. Sam, I want to talk to you. And I said, okay. Come on in, Mark. I said, wait a minute, let me warm my tea up and I'll come and sit with you because, I always say to him, you're the only man my husband don't jealous of, so you could come visit me all the time. But and when Mark came and visit me, he said, I got something to tell you. I didn't know what he had to tell me. I thought it was. I said, okay, hold on. So I came. And while I was sitting on the couch with Mark, he said to me, Dr. Solomon, I'm gay. And I'm bisexual. I'm going to keep it real. I was drinking a cup of tea and the tea fell out my hand like that. I'm like, what you just said? He said, yes, I'm gay and I'm bisexual. I'm like, wow. But something Mark said to me that really touched me. He said, Dr. Solomon, you may not want to have nothing more to do with me after today. You may never want to work with me after today. But it's okay. But I got serious on that note, and I looked Mark in the eye, and I'm looking the camera in the eye now. And I may get a little phone call, but it's okay. I said, Mark, I have nothing to do with your lifestyle. It's the person who you are. And by the way, for over all these years, Mark worked with me. I did not know he was gay. I did not know nothing about that. And Mark, because I always try to say, Mark, I got a girl for you. Because that's what everybody know me. I always try to set people up, y'all. I think one time I said I want to start me a dating agency. But unfortunately, I didn't know. But at that moment when he said that to me, I told him, I said to him, no, you're going to always be my friend. You're going to always work for me. I may not agree with your lifestyle, but they have nothing, because you know what, and I want to keep it real today. A lot of time we as people of God, we talk about love. And one thing that I realized about the gay and the lesbian, like I said, I'm going to say it plain. I don't agree with their lifestyle, but that's going to stop me from being his friend, stop me from working with him. And I look at Mark and I say, no, you're going to be who you are. I look beyond all that. And this is why I want to bring this out to the forefront, that not because they are gay or lesbian, they need love. The Bible said, well, if we want to go to the Bible said, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. And we got to love somebody in spite of. And then I begin to think about what would God do. And do we think the God that we serve going to say because they're gay and lesbian, we're going to kick them to the curb? No, people of God. We got to love them. And we may not agree with their lifestyle, but who's us to judge and to make them feel like they're outcasts? A lot of gay and lesbian people, let me back up. I did not really know about that until when I moved to Sarasota, Florida in the 80s. When I moved there from Miami, Florida, with my two girls by my side. And there were two guys, Angel and Angie, came with a big chocolate cake. Welcome in the neighborhood. I'm like, I said, I don't eat chocolate cake, but my kids eat it. And they said this is what they do. I found out that they were the type of person when the new people move, they come and they welcome them. The next morning, y'all, I didn't know nothing about yard sale. Rosie, you ready? I said, ready to go where? Oh, we got to go get your apartment in Stockholm. And let me tell you something, those two men took me and my kids, and I was totally shocked. Furnished my entire apartment by going to do yard sale. So today, Mark, I just want you to share with the audience and with TV Land what some of the obstacles, what some of the things that you've been through because you tell people that you're gay or bisexual. Because, Mark, I asked him tough questions, y'all, and he always answered truthful to me. So I want you to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background.
Well, I am a graduate from a very conservative university here in the United States, and that school was a Christian university. And being that I grew up and I also have a degree in religion, trying to make sure that I, one, please God, and also make my family proud and happy was really, really dear and important to my heart. And so it was a struggle of mine for quite some time. So as Dr. Solomon has already kind of mentioned, I have been seen as also bisexual because of the fact that I have been married to a woman before.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I was married when I was a lot younger in my life. I was only in my early 20s when I got married. That marriage didn't work because, not because of the fact that I was gay. It didn't work because our relationship wasn't based on proper things, and we did not get proper counseling and talk through things properly. And so the next time that I got married was 15 years later. And that's when I met Adrian. And it has been a journey, trying to figure out who I was, and also dealing with my faith. Because I still love the Lord and I love Jesus. And it is something that, as a believer, going into many churches, you didn't want to talk about it. You didn't want to even mention it, or even show any sign that you were gay, because of the fact that you could be cast out of the church,
yes,
or kicked out, or you'll be looked down upon. And so it was very hard, very difficult to even say anything to anybody. So for many years, up until the age of 27, I didn't tell anybody that I was gay.
Because I didn't know y'all.
And so when I did finally come out, I was 27 years old, and I told my mom, which was probably one of the hardest things to do, was to actually tell my mom. But I felt like I would go out and I would go to clubs and I would do different things, and I would just disappear. And my family wouldn't know where I was, what was going on, and then I would just all of a sudden reappear. And so I felt like that was a dangerous lifestyle to live like that, because they were not part of my life. And I wanted my family to be part of my life. And so when I told my mom, she did break down and cry. And she dealt with it. She hit it face forward, and she started to understand how to deal with a gay son. And it took some time. And then Adrian came along, and we dated for some time, and she found out about Adrian, and she was fine with me having a boyfriend, but she broke down again when I told her that we were going to get married. And that was very difficult because of the fact that she was like, I didn't raise you this way. And I want to make sure that you understand that, God loves you, but you'd really have to understand. And so when we get back from the break, I'll tell you a little bit more about what happened before we got married.
Again, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Dr. Solomon. My co-hosts, Mark Wright and Adrian, are here today. Wife and husband, as I said earlier.
Husband and husband.
Husband and
I'm sorry.
but you know what? I always want to ask which one is a man and which one is a woman. But so it's husband and husband. Okay, I got it right this time.
Now we can get in more of that, but
It's very real.
So let me get it right now. It's husband and husband.
Husband and husband.
Oh, cool. I got it,
Yep.
y'all. Okay, I got it. So again, we're here with Adrian and his husband, and Mark is her husband, and we're here just talking to them to shed a little light and what it's like for them to be in this situation, what trauma they've been through. I know as you listen to Mark, as he talk about his experience, you could see that, I don't know if y'all see the tears and he choke up a lot, but I just believe that this is the time and the season that I felt that I want to bring it forth and to talk about it because he's my friend. They both is a friend of mine. He's also my co-host. And again, as I stated, I may get a lot of flop. Many people do not like it, but it's all good. Life still goes on. So Mark, you could continue. One thing you said about the church, and that's something that got me. Do you remember the time when I got the job for you over in Cocoa? Because Mark is also an actor and he teach kids for you to go and help those kids in the rural area. I met with the pastor said yes. Then he meet with his other leader and they say no. And I say to the pastor, do you remember when I called you and you called me and I told you up front, because y'all know I keep it 100. I say to you, this young man, he was gay. But you got to look beyond his lifestyle. He's still created by God. And we said we are leaders. How can we not love them and we want to cast them to the side? So you could go ahead and continue to talk about your ordeal that you've been through.
Well, when Adrian and I went to my mom and to my stepfather and to my father, and we told them that we were engaged to get married, again, my mom took it pretty hard. But she came back out of the room. She had to take a step away for a little bit and kind of collect herself. And when she came back out, she said, I prayed about it, and I'm just going to let God deal with me. And at first, she said that she wasn't going to come to our wedding. She said that she wasn't going to come at all. But through prayer and through God dealing with her heart, not only did she come to the wedding, but I got a chance to go shopping with her and pick out her dress to be in our wedding. And Adrian and I, because my mom and stepdad had been married for, at that time, 35 years. And so we did a special thing for them because their wedding was the day after our wedding. And so we did a special ceremony or a special acknowledgement to my mom and my stepfather at our wedding. So it was a difficult experience dealing with family, but the one thing that I reassured my mom and reassured my family is that just because of my sexuality didn't change who I was as a person. Mm-hmm. I'm still the same person. And they understand that, and they have embraced us.
So Mark, I want to ask you a question. Do you have certain family now that still kind of push you to the side, or most of your family? Now I'm going to come to Adrian because I want to hear about your family. How did they accept you? And what are they? Do you still have family that still push you aside and felt like you the outcast and felt like you're not welcome
At first,
family function and birthday celebration and all this good stuff?
at first, my oldest brother was very cautious. He did not want me to be around his kids very often. Because the fact that he was concerned that I would influence their lifestyle. And over time, again with prayer and also showing that it didn't change who I was
As a person.
As a person, he finally came around, and actually this past summer, he dropped his daughter off at our house,
Wow.
and she stayed with us for the entire summer. So prayer changes things, and also showing love and compassion to people changes things as well. So it took time, though. It just didn't happen overnight. And so if you're a gay person and you're dealing with your family and things like that, the one thing that we didn't do is go around trying to make people love
Accept
us.
y'all for who you are.
We just were ourselves. And it was their choice to deal with it. It didn't change who we were. We didn't go around, waving a flag or beating a drum. We just went and shared with them and enjoyed family time.
And Adrian, how is your family? I mean, back up. When did you find out you were gay? It was at an early age?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Mark actually was asking me this question the other day. I have memories of thinking about boys and being attracted more to boys than girls all the way back into kindergarten. I mean, I remember back that far, but did I understand what those feelings were? Not necessarily at that point in time. I do remember, I want to say it was 4th or 5th grade. Everybody knew I was gay, even before I did, because there were 2 twins that went to our school, and just casually in the hallway I heard some girls talking, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, oh Kevin is so cute. Kevin is so cute." And without even thinking, I just said, "Really? No, Don is more handsome. He's rugged." And from that day on, everyone was like, "Ooh, that's not what a boy says about another boy," And so people knew before I actually came to grips with my own sexuality. Unlike Mark, I was not sneaking around. I was not living the lifestyle. I had, this is a little extreme to say it this way, but I was kind of trying to brainwash myself into the stereotypical life, the straight lifestyle. And it just was not working for me. I was miserable, and it wasn't until I came to grips with my own sexuality that I was able to be who I was meant to be, and that improved my relationship with my family, with my friends, and with God. I had been basically taught my entire life, I was raised Catholic, no, this is a sin, this is wrong, but when I reached out for help or when I asked questions, I was pushed aside. I was told, no, those people are wrong, they burn in hell. Nobody offered any help.
Wow.
Nobody offered any compassion. It was not, in my book, it was not very Christian, not very godly. It was completely the opposite. They would say, "Oh, we're good Catholics," and then they would spin on a person instead of offering help. And that was very bothersome to me. And so it took a long time. Once I finally was able to come to grips with my own sexuality and was comfortable with myself, was I able to say, "Hey, this is who I am. I have different beliefs. You don't like chocolate. I do like chocolate. There's nothing wrong with that, Hey, you may watch this type of television show and I watch this type of television show. Love is love. It's not hurting anybody, and the differences are what make this world so special and so rich."
So as Mark, he was married to a woman. Do you go with women before you met Mark?
No, I, as I said, tried to fit, that square peg into the round hole, and it just was not working. I tried to show interest. I tried to go on dates, and I just said, "No, this isn't for me. This does not work."
So, you believe that during that time when you feel like you were liking boys, you believe that if someone have reached out to you in that time and give you and to sit you down and talk about it, and what I'm hearing from you that nobody did. Nobody didn't.
That is correct. And I was afraid to tell my parents because I did not want to be cast out. So I did not talk to my parents or my family about it. But when I did go to clergy, when I did go to teachers at that time period, back in the 80s, the AIDS crisis was starting and various things, and people just said, no, that's God's punishment, and no, you are wrong.
And this is why it's so important that we talk about this subject, because I believe that so many couple like y'all are going through the same emotion today. You have people commit suicide because they don't feel love, they feel like they're a castle, they feel abandoned. And my point is to the world is that it don't matter what their lifestyle is. You may not agree with it, but you don't have to push them aside. And if you want to go back to the Bible, the Bible, because with love and kindness have I drawn thee. And when Mark told me about his situation, we become even closer. We become even best friends, more closer. And I make up in my mind that who don't like it too bad. Yes, I'm a pastor. Yes, I'm a preacher. Yes, but I'm not going to turn my back on someone that's been there for me for many years before I found out what they tell me. So, that's why today I want to talk about it, and I want to bring it to the forefront, because so many people out there are going through what y'all going through. So many people are hurting, and they go behind the wall and close off and hurt and pain, and sometimes they end their life. And I refuse to cause anybody pain and hurt because of the lifestyle. Again, I agree with it, but I'm going to love you in spite of. And I love y'all. Y'all know we down for a very long time. But one of the questions I want to ask you, Mark, you mentioned that you were married before. Mm-hmm. How is that different from married to a female than now your husband and husband? How was that different? Because you know me, I'm have some tough person. Y'all know I keep it real on my show, y'all. How is that different? I mean, we ain't got no kids in the room. So if you have kids in your room and you're watching my Facebook, send them out the room. Go ahead.
Well, the difference is with women, and especially for many males that are gay, I would say that one of the reasons that we're attracted to other males is the masculinity, the muscle, the strength. And where a woman tends to be a little bit more softer, a male is not as soft. And so I'm attracted to the more physical nature and the more strength and the more aspect of love in that aspect. And so, when it comes to a female, she's a little softer, she's a little more gentle, and males can be that way as well. But I tend to like the more masculine males.
And I notice this about y'all both. Y'all hold and a lot, which y'all that bond, and I found that y'all both have that bond and that love and the respect for each other. And this is something that the world needs to know, that even though, and I back up a little bit, I was telling somebody that you have a lot of gay and lesbian people. They got money, they got good jobs. You've been in your job for a long. You're a teacher. Mm-hmm. How did your school teach? See, I come back to my word, y'all. When he told me, y'all, Mark worked for the city, right? For London. For the government.
Yeah.
Adrian is a teacher. He also is an actor. The both of them. You are opera singer. Mm-hmm. You travel the world. Mm-hmm. So my thing about it, when you tell me, and I have people say to me, "Oh, you need to kick him to the curb." The devil is a lie. I'll kick you to the curb before I kick him to the curb. I'm keeping it real. Yes, somebody say to me, Dr. Simon, it ain't right. I said, well, you could keep it up in there until yourself. So, and I know he's a teacher. How do the parents of your student accept you? Do they accept you for who you are?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm very lucky that way. And I think it's because, as Mark had mentioned earlier, the homosexuality is one small aspect of our personality. It's one part. It's not all-encompassing as to who we are. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, you can put labels on anybody. Gay, straight, black, white, teacher, government worker, pastor. But the fact is that that's one part of the person. Mm-hmm. And so, again, as Mark said, I don't wave a flag, I don't beat a drum, but I also am proud of who I am
Right.
through and through
Right.
because I try to be good. I try to constantly be better. And I'm not hurting anyone. Mark is not
Exactly.
hurting
That's
anyone.
the point.
By loving someone, we're not hurting anybody. And so if parents or students, even because I teach at an upper level, I'm not teaching the little bitties, if they ask,
You tell them.
I tell them, I have a picture of Mark on my bookshelf at school.
Wow.
And if people say, oh, who is that? That's my husband. He has started working at the same school now. And so
Yes.
everybody knows.
Yes.
Everybody knows. But before I met him, if anybody asked, I would let them know, oh, yeah, this is the case. And because of that, I think that the parents see that I am there as an educator. I am there to help their students, their children, my students. And that is what they see first, and they can appreciate that. And then my personal life doesn't factor into that aspect.
And that's the key. I'm going to say, when Mark told me, I say, your personal life have nothing to do with our relationship. I mean, I'm not going around, but I just believe that your relationship was none of my business. He's my friend. He worked for me when I had my school. He was working for me in my production. So when he told me, of course, y'all, not gonna sound keep it, I was a little bit shocked because I didn't know. Because all these years I know you, and and at that moment. But when he said to me, "Oh, Dr. Son, you may not want to have nothing," because this is how society is. When they find out, especially people in the church, y'all, when y'all find out that somebody is gay and lesbian, you turn your back on them. Suppose God should turn his back on a lot of us, because a lot of us have a lot of snake in our closet. But the God that we serve is a forgiving God. He's a just God and he's a righteous God. He reigns on the just and the unjust. And who is us to judge them for what they do or who they are? I look beyond this. Mark, I know him over the years, met my family. He's an awesome young man, an honest young man. When Mark worked for me, I got to run him down to pay him, y'all. He wasn't the one that had his hand on. I'm like, Mark, where you at? I need to pay you. When we go on production, travel, he'd be the first one to get his own hotel room and be there for me. So why? I get passionate to talk about this because a lot of people want me to kick them to the curb, but the devil is a lie. I'm not going to do it. And even this show, I may get a lot of people maybe call me, but it's okay. It's a free world. I'm entitled to my opinion, and these are going to be my friend for life because they're good people. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Dr. Salman, my co-host. Mark Rides and special guest Adrian, and today husband and husband. Amen to that. Anyway, Mark, before we go to a commercial break, Adrian, you were saying that you were not the one to try to hide. As coming up as a young boy, you was a person that just went along with your feelings, your gut feeling, what you feel, what you think. You were not afraid to.
Well, I was afraid.
Oh, you was afraid.
It was a very scary thing, and it was a very long time before I had the strength to come to grips with my sexuality. What I was saying was I knew what the feelings were, but I was not acting on them, and I was trying to force myself into a lifestyle that did not fit my soul.
Right.
And a lot of that was, as I said, the time period and the AIDS crisis. It was scary.
Right.
It was very scary.
Right.
When from the news you're hearing this is wrong and death and disease. From the pulpit you're hearing you're burning in hell, you are wrong, there's no hope. And there was no hope offered me. It was there somewhere, I'm sure. But wherever I looked and turned to, I was not receiving that. And the way that I feel with being an educator and with the Bible, I know that a lot of people feel very strongly about their faith, as do I, as Mark does, as you do, obviously. But as I said, when I came to grips and stopped living a lie, I suddenly had better relationships here on earth and with our Father. And a lot of that people say, well, you're still gay and that's wrong and you're still burning in hell. And the way I look at it as an educator, as the person I am, I try to do my research. I try to look at all the different angles and say, hey, what I believe may be 100% right or may not. What you believe may not be 100% right. It may be, and I may be in the wrong. But this is what I truly feel deep in my soul. This is where I feel the Father has placed me, has led me to this place. I believe He is a just, loving God. He's not going to put me in harm's way. He is not going to put me in a position where I'm going to burn in hell for loving another person. But, we have people who are Christian, Jewish, Muslim. We can go on and on. Is everybody wrong? Is anybody right? I do not know the answers to that.
Right.
I do know that
Only
we can't. Yeah, all we can do is try to be the best people that we can be, not throw stones and not spit hate, but try to spread love.
And a question I want to ask you, being gay, but also in a biracial relationship, is that is that a force behind y'all? Do y'all?
Well, being that you say that,
Yeah.
when Adrian first got with me, I mentioned some things to him, and I was like, Adrian, did you know? He's like, yeah, I heard, but I really hadn't seen much of that. And as our relationship grew and we continued to go different places and see different things, a lot more things came up. Prime example, we moved for a while to Texas, and we lived in Texas.
I remember when you leave.
And when we left to go to Texas, we needed to change our voter's registration. And I had Adrian fill out my information, and I signed it. But he filled out my information and his information.
Typewritten.
His voter registration card came back. They said that my voter's registration card, it was illegible. They couldn't see it. And he went, wait, I did both of those. My card came back and it was perfectly fine, but your card didn't. And truthfully, it was really based on our ethnicity.
His card did come back 2 or 3 weeks after the election. After the big election.
Wow.
Yeah.
So right there and then you feel
Yeah.
like there was a kind of discrimination.
Yes,
about
it was illegible until then it didn't matter. Then suddenly, oh, yeah, here you go. You can have it.
Yeah. And that's one of the bigger examples, but there are several examples, even just going into the store. I get treated differently
Than Adrian
does.
Of course.
And I was very, very surprised. Of course, as Mark said, I knew about this, but I had not experienced it to the extent until we were married. Being a white male, and as I said, not waving a flag about my homosexuality, if I would travel, I was traveling as an individual white male. Nobody thought anything of it. But as soon as I'm traveling with a husband and in an interracial couple, that changes everything. At airports, in hotels, you name it. And I had never really seen it. I knew it was there, but you kind of have blinders on. And believe it or not, we have actually had more people speak out or act out against our marriage because we are interracial, rather than because we are homosexual.
You're going to get that because you're coming from both sides.
Yeah.
You're gay, you're black, he white. So, of course, we live in a world that is prejudiced. And that's the thing, why can't we all just get along? I mean, you don't have to like their lifestyle. You don't have to agree with it. And I'm not sitting up here saying y'all need to agree with it. But my point is today is that this world would be a better place if we just love one another, in spite of who they are, what they do, because we want to talk God is love. And we want to ask, what would God do? You think God is going to say, because they're gay and they're biracial, put them? No. The God that we love, He loves everybody. And most of all, He's a forgiving God, and He could change things. If we continue to pray and seek the face of God, we'll see more miracle signs and wonder happen. That's a whole nother topic. But my thing about it, I want to ask y'all today. Now that you are in the relationship and you go in your everyday life, How you feel about yourself now versus back then when you didn't have the help, when you couldn't talk? How you feel now? Are you just, you know what, I'm going to let it all go and I'm just going to do my thing?
I'll be truthful.
Are you still
when I was in,
worried and nervous about, people, what they're saying about you all?
when I was in college, I was extremely depressed.
Wow.
I felt alone. I felt isolated. I had extreme moments of just guilt. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't even know who to go and speak with. And, I did speak to a few pastors. I did speak to a few clergy people and get some counseling and things like that. But you'll be interested in some of the counseling advice that I got.
You got, okay.
One of the
negative, right? All negative?
It was interesting. One of the counselors that I spoke with, because the fact that I said I was bisexual, and this is leading to a whole nother talk show,
we'll get there.
He told me that I was just going through a phase, and there were several pastors and several people that were in the ministry that was dealing with the same thing as myself. He told me to pretty much put myself into subjection and suppress those feelings. And as I continued to if I got married to a young lady, to never tell her that I had been in a homosexual relationship or had homosexual feelings. And I found that surprising, that this counselor told me that not to express myself or to be truthful to the person that I was going to marry. And so some of the advice that I got, it wasn't as helpful as you would think it would be. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the other things I would say too. You have to be careful to who you go and get advice from. Yeah. Sometimes some advice can actually put you in a bigger depression, and sometimes it can help you if you go to the right people. But truthfully, I had to pray and had to deal with it myself, because at some points I got to the point where I didn't want to be on the earth anymore. I didn't want to be here. Wow. And
because of the depression.
Because of the depression. Wow. But I was able to pray, and now, because I am truthful to myself and I'm not hiding, I'm not having to run away from my family or do something like that. Not every gay person has the same opportunity that I have with my family. Yes, they didn't like it, but they dealt with it and they still showed me love. Not every gay person have that same opportunity, and I'm blessed to have a family that has embraced me and shown me love. In spite of.
Yes.
And taken me in and shown me love.
And this is what the show is about today, people. It's not about, hating them, talking about. It's about we showing love and compassion. This world needs many love. And for me, I know we're getting ready to run out of time, and I will continue this on another taping. I just want to bring it to the forefront. These are human beings. These are two people that have a mama and a daddy, sisters and a brother, nieces and nephews, that love, good people, tax-paying people, work hard, have a good job, and have a nice, clean home. Yes, I went to their home. If you drop a pin, you could pick up it off the food and eat it, because they have a clean, nice home. And I just want to thank y'all so much for coming here today and tell your story to the world, and to let them know, y'all in love. What can we do about it? Nothing. And, again, as I said earlier, we're not agreeing with their lifestyle, but their lifestyle have nothing to do with the person that they are. Because at the time when Mark told me about it, I could have said, what? And I could see that, Dr. Simon, you're not going to want, I said, oh no, you're going to always be my friend. I'm going to work with you. Who don't like it too bad, because I'm in a place in my life that I'm over people. And I realize that the God that I serve, He's a loving God. He's a just God. He's a forgiving God. And there's nothing too hard for God to do. He said if you ask, it should be given. Knock, and the door for seeking you shall find. So whatever you feel about, and not just Mark and all the gay people in the world, around the world, pray, y'all, because God can fix it if it's in His will. And I'm happy to be your friend, and I'm going to remain your friend, y'all. You're going to remain my co-host, and we're doing big things. I want to ask another question. I saw a stage manager putting up the cum card. Mark, do y'all believe in adopting children? That's going to be my last question to you. I mean, how do you feel about children? Because I notice now a lot of gay couple are having children and bringing children in their circle. How y'all feel about that?
Well, we have some friends, and we would love to bring them at some point in time.
Yeah,
that
to be on my
has
show.
adopt a young man.
And that's what I mean,
And,
adopt with children.
Yeah, and we would love to bring them to be a part of that. Adrian and I have decided that
No kids.
no kids for us. We're not adopting any kids.
Okay.
But we are, very involved in our community. We're very involved in our school.
Mm-hmm.
So those are our kids currently.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reasons are personal reasons. It has nothing to do with homosexuality, our lifestyle in that sense. It's just as if anybody decides, well, I don't want to have children, whether biologically or adopt. Some people, it's just not for them. It's better to realize that than to put a child into a home that we can't support them properly.
So do y'all fight and argue? Like
We're married.
I mean, do y'all? I mean, who win? Who win? Well, I mean, when y'all argue, which one win? I mean,
do you win every argument, Dr. Solomon? With
I think so.
You think?
Because my husband, y'all, everybody, he quiet, he loud. When I get mad,
He's very easygoing.
He's just easygoing. He make me, yeah, but I always win. But I mean, do y'all have arguments and fights about bills and stuff like every couple do?
I feel that every time you put any living beings together,
yeah.
I used to live, before I met Mark, I lived alone with dogs. I had my 2 dogs. I love them. But there are times when I would be frustrated with them. They would be frustrated with me. So, but when you have 2 human beings, even if you love them, don't you think there'll be disagreements?
Of course, there's always disagreements.
Mark tends to be a little more rational and a little more calm and collected. I get a little more emotional and have that, I want to come out punching and fighting, and I'm working on that. I'm working on being a little better with that.
So when you get upset with each other, how do y'all make up? Do you go to bed mad at each other, or y'all just make up with a gift or whatever? Because I like gift on it. I like my husband bringing some gift.
Digging for dirt.
My thing is that I try never to go to sleep upset with anybody.
Yes, good.
That's just my personal thing. I always say we can agree to disagree.
Yes.
And so I can let it be gone real fast. So personally, I know that I try to make us work on not carrying things on too long and letting it linger.
Right.
Because my grandmother always used to say, if you let things linger too long, it'll start smelling after a while.
Again, I just want to thank you, Adrian, for coming and share your story to the world. And Mark, I thank you so much for being my friends over the year. I thank you for, share with me your story, and I never forgot. It was like yesterday in my mind. And I remember the tears in your eyes and said, Dr. Solomon, you're not going to want to work with me. But honey, I'm here. And I love you all.
I love you too.
We'll be right back. We're keeping it real with Dr. Solomon, my co-host Mark Wright. Stay tuned.